Talk podcast, political astrology with our resident astrologer, the amazing one and only Kathy Beal.
Hello.
Because it has. Yeah, we have Terry in the background, our producer. Thanks for all your great help. And today is August 13th. I've been really messed up on my dates. I have to double check. It's August 13th. I believe the moon just went into Sagittarius. Is that correct?
That's about right.
All right. Well, that will be a good day for me. How are you doing? What's happening? Lots?
Yeah. Everything that's happening astrologically. There are two big things going on, and they're both setting my chart off. So
you said that last time, I think.
Well, it's insane. Yeah.
The planets are out to get you.
No.
It's not personal.
I wouldn't say out to get me. I'm just a walking example. Of course, several people are. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Like I used to call him he who shall not be named, but that got to be too long after a little while of doing that. Like his is being set off, right? The loser.
Oh yeah.
So we're here to unpack things. I've been doing this new thing where it's 10-minute tune-ins, and I just wrapped one up. I mentioned, like I just posted it. I mentioned that I was frightened. I was disturbed when I heard Donald Trump last night with Elon Musk, when I heard a clip of that. I don't know if anybody else had that reaction, but I was taken aback and I was scared. And what I mean is that he didn't sound like himself. He sounded like he wasn't in there. Did you hear any of it?
No, I can't bring myself to listen. Okay, I'm trying to get in the center here. No, I saw excerpts.
Did you hear
excerpts? But I can't listen to the voice.
I'm just wondering if you could hear him.
I will not listen to the voice.
Okay, because it was different.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's like losing his teeth or that.
It sounded like he had no teeth, and it sounded to me like he was under the influence of something, which I get a very strong hit about. He was under the influence of something. I don't know if anybody in the chat has a comment about it, but it was really weird. And I feel like I'm the only one that has this kind of like shocked response to what I heard, because it was like he had snapped, and he sounded like he had marbles in his mouth, and people were saying that he was slurring, and it was beyond that. I think we really do need to talk about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he in fact has snapped, because I don't understand how he has withstood and continue to function with the astrological energy that's been happening. But next week, there are two huge aspects that have a propulsive, tremendous amount of pressure going against one spot. And they're going against two spots. They're not going against the same spot, but there's like pressure on a spot. One of them is going across Trump's relationship axis, and that's the Aquarius full moon. It's happening across his relationship axis. It's hitting his Mars, which is how he uses his energy, and the sun and the moon are slamming into Uranus in his most public house. Now, Uranus is sitting on the doorway to his career house. And that's the line that goes straight down the middle of the chart. So the top part is the career house. The bottom part is your base, your home, your family, where you are. I have mentioned repeatedly that Uranus hitting that spot blows things up, just blows things up. So this is another detonation moment. Might I point out that this happens when the Democratic Party is about to nominate the ticket that's going to take him out. So that's part of it, because it's happening when the DNC starts. So that's thing one. And this is hammering something that has been hit again and again and again and again. Most recently, July 15, when the Republican National Convention started. But that's when the gun went off. in Butler, whatever
Right.
happened there. All right. So that was also up there in his chart. So something that's already been pulverized a bunch of times gets slammed again. That's thing one. Thing two hits, and this is, I have mentioned this one. I have been waiting for this one. This is the league. This is the Iron Maiden closing on him.
Mm-hmm.
As the ruler of his house of health, the ruler of his health is Uranus, and it's in the most public part of his chart. Uranus, that publicly, he's a change agent, he's a disruptor, he's a rogue actor, he's someone who brings chaos. Jupiter, which expands everything it touches, is on top of that. And Mars, attack, is on top of that. Saturn, planet of karma, planet of order, planet of constraint, planet of adulting, is in his house of open enemies, slamming into that.
Mm-hmm.
There's more. Opposite Saturn, Venus in Virgo is also slamming into this. So we have a forceful influence amping it up. We have a dispassionate feminine influence saying, how do we fix this? How do we clean this up? How do we heal this? Operating with opposite the courts, karma. I'm going to add to it. Saturn is also, everyone laugh, Walz with two L's and an S. So
okay.
this is the, so there's the symbolism of, I thought this was going to be Judge Chuckin, and it may still come out
I'm
of.
still feeling that.
This still may be part of it, a female judge in the legal system slamming in on him, but we also have a woman who organizes and is really orderly and looks at things in terms of how do we improve this, and the father archetype together going after him and blowing him up. He cannot deal with this ticket. There's another piece to this. The other piece to this, and this is when I just went crazy.
Yeah, like he is.
No.
In a good way.
So if you add Kamala Harris's chart to this, she has Venus in Virgo in exactly the space where Venus will be in the sky in this configuration. She is the embodiment of the feminine influence that's bearing down on him and blowing up, causing him to answer. But there's more. The other piece is she doesn't just have Venus there, she has both change agents there in her chart. She was born in the mid-60s. There were a group of people, or there was a group of people who were born with Uranus and Pluto really close together in Virgo. They are change agents. They are people who have come in to improve things, to do things better. So her change agent signature is fused to her role as a woman, to her fighting for women's health. That's also Venus in Virgo, the women's rights, and that's part of what's slamming into Trump. This particular ticket is part of what closes the walls in on him.
The walls.
And I know, and it also affects his health, okay? Because this is hitting the ruler of his health, as well as this change agent thing in the top of the chart, because Uranus rules his house of health in his chart. So I've just given you a ton of info, but trust me,
I'm sifting through it. It's like,
every major player in this election is being hit by both of these configurations, both of them, and the US chart as well. And the US chart also has something about this masculine and feminine force coming at an open enemy of the country.
Right, which he clearly is.
Which he clearly is. I have a lot about this in detail, step by step by step, at my channel, Professional Aquarian. I put a video up called Engines of Change, the astrology of mid-August 2024. And again, it goes step by step by step. I talk about one piece, then the next piece, show how they work together, show what they're doing, and then I go with everybody's chart. Then I take the second engine and do the same thing. And then I put Trump, the day, Kamala, Walz. This is karma.
So you said everybody's chart. You mean like everybody that's in the kind of in the news and in the?
Well, it's these are hitting the U.S. chart, Kamala's chart, Tim's chart, Trump's chart, J.D. Vance's chart. It's
Right.
also
Wow.
hitting Biden's chart,
Wow.
but I didn't put Biden in the picture.
Shout out to Joanne. Thank you for the donation. Much appreciated. Okay, backing up a little bit. You see a crash in his health status. We've been talking about that for a long time now, that we just see him combusting, imploding.
Well, you saw evidence of it, what you heard last night, right? Doesn't that fit?
Well, yeah, this was like somebody dropped him on his head. And then he went on to Elon's channel because something completely changed. I mean, completely. I mean, we know how he is, but he sounded like a different human being. Like, you know how you could distort somebody's voice? It wasn't that, but that's what it seems like. And so, I mean, he was still saying all the crazy stuff. I got this sense that this Kamala thing is like, this is the personification of what he hates the most. He's a blazing misogynist, racist, white supremacist. And I don't think he can conceive of what's happening right now. I just think it's blown all his circuits. And it certainly sounded like it. I would think that he would be just a little bit self-conscious and not allow him to go on that X, whatever that was, in that kind of a state. Whatever happened to him. The Uranus seems relevant here, like you were saying. I just wondered if did it get amped up yesterday? What was there something going on yesterday?
Well, what's happening is Jupiter and Mars are moving onto his Uranus.
So that's big.
That's amplifying it. Yeah. Also, did you catch there was a piece of content from last night that I think is relevant, and that is he said if he loses, he's going to go to Venezuela, and he invited Musk to go with him. So he's basically, because he always says what he's going to do.
Right.
He's admitted he's a flight risk.
Right. Yeah, he just blabbers it out, and then the mainstream media doesn't really say anything.
No.
I don't know if we could ever at some point look at mainstream media. I did a little reading a few minutes ago on that I just posted.
Well, all this amplifying the lies and not calling it out is going to come to a head.
Yeah.
At the lunar eclipse in September, which is exact on the day that his sentencing is supposed to take place in New York.
Oh, really?
So, that's a turning point. It's not going to be the end of it, but we'll be dealing with this over the next 2.5 years. The issue of lies and propaganda and false information or misinformation. Yeah.
What I'm getting about the mainstream media is they don't want to give up the shtick. I'm not getting that they're going to change their ways. Every time I read on it, it's like, maybe a little bit they'll adjust, but they really think this is going to work. They really do believe they're going to get their oligarchy. And I know it's probably impossible to read on all the mainstream media, but maybe in the United States chart, something would be indicated there. But we do know Pluto is in Aquarius now, correct?
Right. And we're seeing a couple of really beautiful examples of how that energy is playing out. So remember, everybody, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during the French Revolution. People stormed the Bastille. People took the streets. What has been happening? Well, on July 21st, when Biden said he was going to suspend his campaign and he endorsed Kamala, Mars, which makes things happen, was in an unbroken flow with Pluto and Aquarius, and immediately we had a Zoom, Black Women for Kamala broke Zoom. And we're having these meetings online, Aquarius,
Yeah.
That's what's happening. And another beautiful example of it, I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. So we're seeing the collective and the organizing happening. But the other really cool thing is, because of a terrorist threat or a threat on her life, Taylor Swift canceled some concerts in Vienna. And I saw a photo of fans who had traveled there, just taking to the streets and singing.
Yeah.
Singing in the streets like the Who's on Christmas morning in Whoville.
Yeah, that's so
It's
awesome.
the same kind of energy. So we're already seeing people just coming together and doing things. I mean, my God, Church of Latter-day Saints for Kamala? What?
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. And there's like a Republicans for Kamala Zoom call that Mark Hamill is going to talk on. And it's just all these subgroups that are finding their point of commonality, and they're raising funds for her. And she's pulled in. I love the Saturn in Pisces playing out of a dad being her running mate who's caring about what happens to people hydrating in the audience.
Isn't it great?
It's beautiful.
He's like the dad or the teacher that, you know, we all want, or we all wanted. So the so-called interview last night, I think that Trump was bashing unions. I heard. Somebody correct me if I'm.
Oh, there's been legal action already this morning because of that. The UAW has filed a complaint against Musk and Trump.
And then the EU is filed some kind of complaint against Musk also, which I was reading on it last night, but I didn't know much about.
Fomenting race riots, spreading misinformation that fomented the race riots in the UK.
Yeah, okay, because I was reading on it. I didn't know about that, and I was reading on it, and I got, Elon is in trouble for international crimes, but I didn't know what I was getting, what I was actually picking up on. And then I heard that today, and I keep getting that Elon is very mentally ill.
Well, would we argue with that? This second configuration that I talked about that involves Jupiter and Saturn is hitting his chart. And Venus and Mars are, Jupiter and Mars, so expansion and then action and attack are on top of Venus in his chart. And he's got a battle going on with his daughter, who's going after him publicly on social media, because I don't know if she's trans or if she's gay, but she's in a slightly alternate community that he has dissed. And she's just giving him what for and slamming and telling a whole bunch of secrets and stuff. And that's one way this is all playing out.
She's telling what kind of secrets? I haven't been following them. What kind of secrets?
Well, I mean, she's just, he says these awful things about people who are gay or trans, and she fits the profile. And so she's talking about, I think I don't know a whole lot of details, but she's talking about what his shortfalls as a nurturing parent, things he has done wrong and abusive stuff he's done. And yeah. And I think Grimes is suing him too. The mother of his most recent kids, the ones that have the names that are, just a collection of characters that don't really.
But I feel like he's just not like, they have a lot in common, Elon and Trump. They don't feel like they're in this reality. They're in an alternate reality. Somebody asked about Pluto in Capricorn before I forget.
Pluto going back into Capricorn?
Yeah, like what? Isn't that?
Well, it's gonna do final cleanup of the time since 2008. Pluto in Capricorn has been showing the disintegration and failures and infrastructure problems.
Yeah.
Physical infrastructure. Hey, we finally had somebody who put money into the infrastructure. But also our institutions collapsing and failing, and also what the people with the wealth disparity has been a big, big, big piece of it. And Pluto moving in Aquarius is going to be a completely different vibe. It doesn't mean the oligarchs go away, but there's a change in how power is disseminated. And the last time this happened, the middle class arose. Previously in France, it was a society of really wealthy people and peasants.
Serfs.
And the middle ground came. So this is going back to that. I want to address really quickly one question that came earlier. Warren, you asked, did Kamala know Trump in a past life? Her North Node does connect to his sun. So if you believe in that kind of thing, possibly.
Did I ask that?
No, Warren did.
Oh, I
And her
can't.
South Node connects to his moon, so it's possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being a person that reads past lives, when somebody comes in that's going to be that much of a big player, yeah, there's always a past life. I've never seen that not to be the case. 45 doesn't look as orange. That's true. He doesn't.
He's not wearing his makeup.
Is he trying to look pale? Maybe get sick and out of the public? Is that a plan to remove him?
I don't know. Maybe he can't afford his makeup job. He's having to change the way he flies. Charter plane, Epstein, by the way, Epstein's plane. He owes money to all these airports all over the U.S. for his previous campaign. I think that's one reason he couldn't fly in to the place he was going in Montana. He had to go somewhere else.
I think it's interesting that it's up to the people now to call everything out, because the powers that be are just like, well, it's just another day, and that's just how he's acting, and even down to, I mean, not to bash the DOJ, but even down to that, I know things take time, but it does feel, the house is on fire. What's the deal? Why is there nobody's calling up the fire department and saying, look, emergency, emergency? I do feel optimistic. I think we're shocked and stunned in a good way. I know we are, about Kamala and Walz. I just wonder, well, the Pluto and Aquarius, that might answer my question. I wonder if the people really are going to have the power.
Well, they're going to assert the power, whether they get it. It's not that they immediately take it. But we're seeing what they're already able to do.
Right.
And the way that Biden passed the baton enabled this. It facilitated this.
Right. Did you see that in his chart? In Biden's chart? I think you mentioned that. What was it that you saw that indicated a shift?
Well,
we see justice more and more. Yay.
The day he decided to do that, Pluto was in this unbroken trine, this easy flow with Mars, thinking, thoughts, a message, and also with his Neptune. I think he saw something for the greater good. I also said, and I believe it, that he had said, if the Lord Almighty tells him not to run, he won't run. I bet he got the call, like, okay.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah,
Here's what to do next.
Yeah, we did talk about that. That's true.
Yeah.
And now it's so interesting that we've really not seen him.
He's been on the beach in Rehoboth. He was on TV on Sunday. ABC interviewed him, and guess what? He was coherent. And I saw a video of him bike riding with Secret Service.
I know, I saw that. That's impressive. Is he 81 or 82? 81, right?
Yeah.
I think he's 81. I mean, that's impressive. I don't see very many people, not that they can't, but I don't see very many people that are in their 80s on their bicycles. So that's really,
I'm not on mine.
I'm not on mine, but it's just because I'm afraid of cars. People drive crazy. I think I'll get hit. But yeah, so the Elon Trump thing, does it look like it's going to fall apart?
The Elon Trump thing. Well,
yeah, because Elon, after that train wreck last night, I saw that he endorsed him for president.
Well, the interestingly, the full moon on Monday locks into Elon's wealth. So, but it's not in a dynamic way. It's in a way that amounts to the Hanged Man.
So he's got to kind of give up his
not just kind of hanging in and watching things, of not really having control or power. and maybe not getting anywhere with the amount of money that he's dumping in.
I don't understand why he'd be dumping money into Trump. It doesn't make sense. And I don't see Trump on the ticket.
The oh, Maureen, lucky you. You live 3 miles from Biden's place in Rehoboth Beach. Yay. Hey, go to Browse About Books and you can get a signed copy of my book. It's there. There are lots of them. I'm serious. Browse About Books off the boardwalk in Rehoboth Beach. Maureen, that's your job.
Yep, that's an assignment.
That's an assignment. Anyway, where were we?
Yeah, I'm talking about, do you think that Elon is going to be able to help Trump?
Well, don't you think that what is happening here, this is just my supposition, but I don't think I'm alone in this, that Trump is just a placeholder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's the name on the ticket, and they're going to back him. And then at some point, he's not going to be the one calling the shots. He will not be in the White House. No. He'll just be moved.
Well, they wanted a puppet, right? And he's the puppet. But I don't think that those nefarious people that want him in the White House so they can do what they will, I don't think they planned on him having a mental breakdown. Maybe that's what I witnessed was last night was a mental breakdown. I don't think that they had any idea that it was gonna get that bad. Do you think it's dementia, or do you think it's just nerves?
Oh, I don't think it's nerves.
So it's something physiological.
I think it's mental and physiological.
Do we ever look at Ronnie Jackson's chart?
No.
Because I really feel vibes all over. Like what was going on he was on something. He definitely was on something. You know how much Trump is always saying, "Oh, they were on something." Like they kept saying that about Biden.
Well, everything. Well, and all the stuff he said about Biden, he's the one playing it out. And Biden's I think fine. Biden's just tired.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't be, even if you were 20, to having that job? But I think it's really interesting. What I've seen is what I've known about Trump is that he grew up with the Norman Vincent Peale. He and Fred knew him. Knew about the power of positive thinking and all that. And what's interesting to me is I think that he's really utilized that because it can work for good or bad, the power of intention. So the power of positive thinking is something Trump has used his whole life, and it's manifested all these wonderful things for him, I think. And what's happened lately is I'm seeing it backfiring because he was saying that the Biden administration was wanting to assassinate him. I don't know what happened to my light. That's interesting. My lights just went out. The Biden administration was trying to assassinate him, and then there was the assassination attempt. And then he was saying that something about a helicopter crash, and then he had trouble in his plane going to was it Montana? They had to land. And so what's fascinating to me is that this manifestation is starting to manifest what he's pointing to somebody else and accusing them of doing, and it's happening to him. I don't know why my light went out just then.
I have had people for so long coming at me and going, "When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen?" We're here, folks. We're here.
Well, and so we've talked about that before. Like last show, I think I was saying, people understandably, we've been waiting so long for this guy to get just to fall and to be held accountable. And Terry just put up that in 2024 we see justice more and more. I was saying that at the start of the year, and I also said hope restored. So I'm really excited about that is what we're seeing. I see his demise actually this month. And then when the convention for the Democrats it's on the full moon.
Yes, these two really complicated astrological events are occurring as the convention starts.
Okay, so put people's minds at ease if you can, because you know how, like, for instance, people are saying, oh, election day, it's going to be a you know what show, it's going to be awful, you know, it's going to be violence and all this about election day. And the other thing that I'm hearing here and there is that the Democratic convention is going to be, something bad's going to be happening because of the astrology.
Okay, first off, there will be surprises. Might not, but the two candidates at the top of the ticket lock into the Aquarius full moon in a very positive way.
All right, so everybody calm down.
Yeah, consider the possibility that they formally getting the nomination shatters ceilings, shatters problems, and it goes straight at Trump's public persona. Each of them, both the presidential and the vice presidential candidate, have a very positive effect on the U.S. chart. Kamala's Saturn, order, law, is on the U.S. moon that represents the people. She has said she wants us to find how we are in common. She's bringing unity. And I'll also just throw in, for those of you who are freaking out, Saturn contacts extend things. They give staying power. This is glue. It's glue. Yeah. Secondly, Walz's chart, first off, amps up her inner fires. He has Jupiter at the very last degree of Aries. Jupiter in Aries is incredibly lucky. Happy-go-lucky, always seeing the best, optimistic beyond anybody else's, and great gamblers, but been my experience. So his Jupiter fires up her moon, and it's in this beautiful supportive relationship with the U.S. moon. So
nice.
Slamming hard, oh my God, something horrible is going to happen, impact is happening to Trump and Vance.
Yeah. So everyone,
it's energizing. It's energizing Kamala and Tim. Okay.
All right.
Calm down. Now, this is not to say that something weird might not happen. There might be something in the streets. Who knows? But this is explosive. And my God, think about it. Yeah. We're going to have a woman of color candidate for the presidency, backed up by a man who doesn't have a masculinity issue, like the opposite of toxic masculinity. This is paradigm shifting, and that acts out the energy of that moon. So do not freak.
And the whole, hopefully the end of this macho man, tough man, strong man, which is really, if a guy has to do that, that's indicative of a weak man. You know, Tim Walz is showing us that, I mean, I wouldn't mess with him. I wouldn't want to double cross him. He would, in the nicest way, put you in your place, right?
Or worse.
And, yeah, right. He's not like a pushover. And I just really admire and respect. I saw this, you know that I met Glenn Kirshner, and that's why I'm DC. I saw that in him when I met Glenn Kirshner. Maybe he's watching. I doubt it. But he has this real paternal energy about him. And it's real kind of protective and gentle. And he's a really strong person and very smart. And then afterwards, I found out he has 5 daughters and 1 son, which is like, that's my family. There's 5 girls and 1 boy. Oh, that's that fatherly, you know, energy. Like, it's almost like protective when he gets around a female. Respectful, highly respectful, but also a little bit protective. And Tim Walz says that too. And I'm really excited to see that highlighted. Like, the contrast is just remarkable of what we've seen. I've always talked about the law of contrast in regards to what's going on in this country right now. And now I hear other people saying it too, that we really choose strongly when we are faced with something that we just go, no way. So all this catastrophizing that people are doing can actually, I hate to say it can be a boon, but it can work to our benefit, because if we're catastrophizing and we're going, oh my God, terrible things will happen if we have fascism, right? If we head in that direction, that gets people on fire and motivated. So I love the pairing of the being a little freaked out, being angry too, and that activating people as that's a positive. So all this, this tension is actually bringing us together more, and we work better as a human society when we team up. And we have been so in need of that sense of, I'm not here all alone, it's not just me. And that's the beauty of these channels too, these YouTube channels. It's like there's a an underlying subsection of society that's like, we've gone beyond the mainstream news, right? We've gone beyond the old paradigm. We have formed our own civilization, right? That's not them.
No. And look at what this campaign is doing in terms of how it gets its messaging out. It's ignoring the mainstream media. It's on social media. They're on True Social. They follow one account, Trump's. And as soon as some stupid thing happens, they have a sassy press release, bam, going right out. They're handling things differently. She's actually even now on TikTok. And to answer Luna, there is no, I don't know anybody who has found a birth time for Tim Walz. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, birth time. He might not
have a birth time. We have birth date, not a birth time.
Some birth certificates don't have it. But I would think in his little era when he was born, I would think that it's probably there.
I'm sure someone will ask.
Yeah. So it's crazy times. So last night, just speaking of the kids and social media, I think you were still on when I was reading on what's going to happen with the messaging. And I was surprised to see it, that the younger generation who were pretty much born with a cell phone in their hands, they're going to make the difference in this election. They're going to just turn this into a total tsunami, blue tsunami, because of that, because they're engaging their social media, prowess. And Trump can't get that whole, train wreck of Trump is they can't combat it. They can't. They don't know how.
Well, and Beyonce and Taylor Swift have both given the campaign permission to use anything in their catalog. Meanwhile, Trump's stealing a song from Titanic, and they're doubling down on it. Do they not know?
It makes
the Titanic.
Well, I know that the Titanic thing. Hang on, I was just trying to fix my leg. That Titanic thing it's bad enough, and it's like so tone deaf, really, that they were playing that song. But I'm going ballistic about how many copyright violations the Trump organization has had. They're countless. They're just like, oh, we'll use this song. Well, you don't do that. Even if you're on YouTube, you know that. You play a little snippet of a song that's written by somebody else and forget it. So I don't think that the Trump whole show is going to continue beyond the longest it will last, from my psychic perspective, is mid-September. A month from now, I think it's going to be a whole different game. And I do pick up a lot. I don't know if you know what I'm picking up, but astrologically, I pick up a lot of activity this week. Like I said last night, felt like yesterday
what was talking about?
It felt like yesterday was the calm day. So what's happening this week?
Well, we're beginning the build up to this week. Mars and Jupiter meet exactly. They meet tomorrow, and they're still going to be hanging out together. They meet tomorrow, and then Mars hits Saturn. So, but then they're still hanging out in these aspects when Jupiter and Saturn complete their square next week. So essentially, we have this wide vibe going on, and it peaks next week, but it stays in place for a while. It comes, but yes, And we're going to revisit it Christmas Eve, and we'll revisit it beginning of the summer. But the most intense, wacky part of it is right now.
Do you have any?
I described this in my forecast for the week as being in a wind tunnel.
What would that mean?
Can you hear? It's just.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I've been picking up on that. I'm like, what's going to happen? I mean, it's not bad, but it's just like big, sudden shifts. And I know we've had earthquakes too. So
they're part of it with Uranus and Taurus being the focal point of the T-square. There will be things that happen with the Earth. There will be grids that go down. There will be technology.
Right. That's the kind of thing I'm picking up on. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like big shifts. People are worried. Somebody was on last night in the chat who was in California. LA's having earthquakes. Japan had an earthquake a few days ago. I haven't heard much about it, if there's a lot of damage or any lives lost. Have you heard anything about Japan? I think
it's pretty, it is a pretty high number.
Yeah, but I haven't heard about any significant damage or lives lost. Maybe they have their whole infrastructure set up so that they can withstand it. But remember Fukushima, that was, I don't know what's going on with the nuclear power plant there, but it's a little scary. How about, do you think that is weather and astrology connected, that you could see something that's
There are people who specialize in that. I interviewed someone on my radio show. And it is a specialty. I will say, one, that water will be a function or related somehow with the stuff that comes to a head next week. So things involving electricity, things involving structures, things involving the ground, something involving water, and it could go in an extreme. It could be there's a big drought, or maybe there's a flood. Not impossible.
Right. And so there's such a thing as weather astrology.
Yeah.
Huh, who does that? Who do you know that does that?
I know somebody up in not too far from you, actually.
Oh, really? I was trying to read what Terry put up.
No, wait a minute. I think it's in upstate New York. That's it. Yeah, his name is Peter Doty.
And you did a show with him?
He was on my radio show earlier this year, some point last year. Yeah. I will go into the comments when we're done, and I'll stick a link to my interview with him so people can see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
What he's up to.
Japan had a 7.1 magnitude. It's funny, I haven't heard about the damage. Somebody's saying the big dam in China failing. I don't know about that.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. It could. Who knows? Who knows how it's going to play out? Okay, because with Uranus, under ordinary circumstances, it is a waste of time to try to predict the specifics. But what I will say is, since where Uranus has been hammered a whole bunch, we do know CrowdStrike, something to do with hacking, things to do with computer networks, things to do with electricity. If you're flying, put a lot of extra cushions of time.
I'll do that for sure. Who else do you have? Do you have anybody else in front of you? Chart-wise, that you just had some curiosity about that you want to?
Well, I want to tell people a couple more things about Tim Walz, because I think you'll like it a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Because people know, oh, well, he's an Aries. Yes, he's an Aries, and he has Mars in Aries. Well, he just,
Oh yeah, he's not going to. So does Hunter Biden, right?
I think so. I don't remember specifically. And he also has Jupiter at the end of Aries. So that's thing one. Thing two, we don't have a birth time for him. So his moon may be in Aquarius. It may be at the very end of Capricorn. Chani Nicholas has said she would not be surprised if it's Capricorn. I see something else because of the big dad stuff, big dad energy. I see something else that speaks to that. But so the reason I think that his moon is in Aquarius is my experience with people who are moon in Aquarius is that everybody loves them. They're the guys that remember the name of whoever, the people in the dry cleaner. They have a regular spot they go. The little cafes will have a table for them. They know people's names. They're pals with everybody. This guy seems to be friendly like that. But the big dad energy I see coming off of, he's got Mercury, how he communicates in Taurus, which is real real
Earth.
practical, specific.
Yeah.
And you may have seen he did a video before an election where he was talking about a particular fuse in the car and how to fix it and go buy it at Napa. I've seen him describing how to work an 8-track player.
Yeah.
That is in a really, really easy flow with his nodal axis. Now, his nodes, which is like what you come in, what's your default and what you're evolving into, his default is Capricorn. His default is I'll take care of it. His default is I'm the dad, I'm responsible. And what he's moving toward is the nurturer. And I'd say he has achieved that.
They're the total opposite of Trump and JD Vance.
And what I love is that they seem to genuinely like people.
They're having a great time.
And what a difference. I'll confess, I was just based on the astrology and things that you and I had talked, and we both got the pendulum out in the cards, and I thought, oh, it's going to be Josh Shapiro, and there's going to be so much fighting over this choice. And I woke up and saw that a friend of mine had redone a cover of a Sondheim show, Do I Hear a Waltz? And she'd redone it to Do I Hear a Waltz? And I burst into tears.
Oh yeah, you said that.
Anyone who knows me knows that they don't hear those words out of me very often. I do not cry. I'm an Aquarian. Yeah. I'm part robot. I thought they're not going to screw this up. They're not screwing this up, and it's been the case. And you go to look at the crowd sizes at the different rallies, and apparently in Nevada, where it was like 109 outside, and there were 4,000 people turned away. Think of that number. While people got there early, like 6 hours early, and they were playing music, and there were lots of people dancing in their seats and singing ABBA together.
We're so ready for this. It's like we've been dying to dance and sing together, don't you think?
There's this huge sense of absolute relief. And I'll also confess, the weekend when she was considering options, I was working at a festival in the Catskills, and I went to pick up the friend who was going with me, and I was just playing on my phone. And that was when all the nonsense about couches was running around, running around the internet. And then somebody shared, Vance actually shared a screenshot of search results about aggressive human dolphin sexual relations.
That was just,
and it was clear he had put the search terms in. So I was laughing to the point of tears. I mean, this is incredibly infantile. But and my friend came up to the car and said, Kathy's laughing. She must have seen the dolphin memes.
I mean, to each his own, right? But I'm so ready to be out of the bottom of the stupid.
I know. It's like everyone's just relieved. Like, oh my God, we've shifted back into something that resembles a reality that we recognize.
Normal, sane people in charge will be great. And I don't really foresee a time that we're not going to be really engaged in what's going on in our country. I think that that's come to an end. And speaking of people singing and dancing together, we don't all do that anymore. When I was growing up, we were literally all singing the same songs, right? Until a certain generation, it changed. I'm not into electronics, so I'm at a loss when it comes to listening to music, current music, because it's all electronic. I'm always about raw sounds, unplugged, and I think there's a whole segment of the population that's into that too. But we were all singing Bruce Springsteen, we were singing, Queen, Freddie Mercury, and we were singing the same music, Prince, all of it, even Madonna. And I think that that's a human need. I think that we need to sing and dance together. So we even have that component coming. It's like we've been so starved to get together. And so this is fulfilling that need too. And it's a human need that we all have. If you think you have it or not, we all have it. We're all wired that way. We wouldn't have survived if we didn't have that as a civilization. So I don't think that's going away.
I don't either.
I think it's going to be with us for the rest of our earthly existence here. And we probably will see more people singing the same song. Like, I wish I wrote Freedom. I wish I was Beyonce. That would be a lot. But, like we're going to have more of that. So, and it's exciting, like going to Washington, D.C. to meet with Glenn Kirshner's Patreon members and how we're all together. This is very, very Pluto and Aquarius, right?
And there's a leveling going on with this. I mean, you meeting Kirshner, that's amazing.
Yeah.
In Zoom meetings, think of the level of celebrity showing up and talking. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker. Barbara Streisand is coming to the Jews for Kamala meeting. People are like, they're going nuts. But there's a leveling, and I point to the Nevada rally in particular. It wasn't a governor who introduced them. It wasn't a state representative. It was a school teacher.
Right, that's true.
A school teacher. Think of the leveling.
You know what started that too is like the precursor to that, believe it or not, in my mind was COVID. Like when we all started going on to Zoom and YouTube, and I noticed that I knew Keith Urban before he became famous. And I saw him doing some kind of a YouTube thing, and Nicole was there, and they were just at home. They were just in the studio, and he was playing and she was singing. And then I saw Alicia Keys kind of doing the same thing at home. And it's like, wow, when I started to realize I could do the same thing, all of a sudden it was like, oh, Keith was here and, Alicia was here, but now we're doing the same thing. That's so important. The only reason they're different is because they made more money and they got more celebrity status, and they were in their talent too, of course. But that's pretty much it. So when we see this, universal principle that we're all the same, and that Pluto and Aquarius is really, hit its stride. I think that nothing is impossible, including averting global climate change, total annihilation. I really think that we're holding this planet together energetically with what
I can tie what's going on now to COVID. And that is
really
on December 21st, 2020, right when the vaccines first rolled out.
Yeah.
Whatever you think of vaccines, okay? We're not getting into an argument over good, bad. But
I never talk about
that. Jupiter and Saturn met. Jupiter and Saturn meet. So expansion and constriction, they meet every 20 years. And they set a 20-year cycle in motion. And what is happening now is the first testing, the first square, the first testing of what is growing out of what was seeded in December 2021.
Oh, wait. So the COVID.
2020. So you can look at it as, taking action for the community or restrictions or whatever. Anyway, you want to look at the symbolism. But now we got people dancing in arenas.
Right. That's what happened when Joe Biden got elected, too. We're all dancing in the streets.
Oh, my God. I was in New York City that day. And when the election finally settled, I was with a bunch of actors that I was doing stuff with. We had champagne on the banks of the Hudson.
Yeah, that was Champagne Day. I remember that. I had champagne, too, before I quit drinking. So during this time, we're heading into a full moon on Monday. Is there anything that stands out for us personally that we want to just talk about? The full moon is in Aquarius?
Full moon in Aquarius. We are, I look at this one as personally processing, figuring out the personal impact of all of the stuff that's been going on, all the Uranian jolts and bolts and switcheroos, and oh my God, what does it mean?
Yeah.
And there's probably been, for some people, there was stuff in their life. I mean, I had a computer system die. It's still being worked on. Maybe I'll get it back by Monday. That would be nice, because this has been happening in the part of my chart that deals with
when did that happen?
and communication. It's been going on. So there's something that's been hammered since
Right.
April that breaks loose in a new way. And it does have, this is a moment of releasing emotions. And the Aquarius Leo axis is a real weird one because an Aquarius moon, you would think, well, this isn't going to be horribly emotional. Well,
Yeah.
Aquarius, it has the Leo Aquarius axis has the challenge of how are you your unique self in the collective? How do you shine and coexist with other people?
And that's real fixed energy too. So is it going to be pretty like strict or?
No, it's just that since there's this pressure point going on to Uranus, which rules Aquarius, things that have been stuck will break.
Like what would that be for you, for example?
My computer.
Things that were stuck or will break?
My computer, I'm getting a new computer. I'm a completely new computer system, completely upgraded. And
Well,
someone
my
else
light just went out.
and someone else isn't reinstalling all the programs. I'm paying someone to do it rather than my doing it. This is
So things that have been stuck will be fixed.
Or move into a different phase. If nothing else, you're going to have emotional release. So, I mean, we could all just be laughing hysterically on Monday or crying or like, oh my God, this is real. I don't know.
I'm thinking of like real like conviction energy, like that's it. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. That's what it feels like to me. Does that fit? Just getting real solid about, okay, that's it. I'm not going to take any more crap.
Oh, right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's an element here of looking at past situations and becoming really clear on who gets you and who doesn't get you. It's important to weave into this, which I haven't mentioned, that we're in a Mercury retrograde, which is a time for going back over old stuff. And Mercury has moved back into the sign of Leo, which is where the moon is. I mean, where the sun is it's going to be with the sun at this, meaning that you may have instances of stuff where you were dissed or you weren't totally respected or becoming aware of situations in the past where you were not validated. And my little Leo soapbox is get away from it. You know, maybe burn stuff. There are people I'm going to write letters to and burn. Situations that I haven't thought of in 20 years coming back up like, if I'm thinking of it, I didn't purge it. I'm going to.
Right. So it's like enough already kind of energy where does it have staying power? Because we always release things around the full moons, right?
Well, to see, there's something here about getting it in your bones, not to waste your energy trying to win over people who don't get you. And to get away from the people with the water pistols and the buckets that are trying to dampen. Don't waste it. Do not waste yourself. Gravitate to the people who make you feel good about yourself, where you can tell when there's an upsurge when certain people are together. I mean, I am reminded of someone, a Pisces I dated, who really didn't like the fact that I would go hang out with a friend from high school and I'd come back all happy and chipper and he'd be like, well, you're not
too happy. Don't be so happy, damn it.
Yeah. Oh, Dancing Warrior saying, I've been wondering why that old crap has been coming up. Yes, it has.
I'm amazed at how many people just, and I hope that, just mentioning it, maybe somebody will be inspired to change it. How many people just stay around people that are just, I don't know, joy killers?
You think you have to? I don't know.
Yeah, well, some people do think they have to, and it's like,
and if your situation is such that for whatever interpersonal political reasons, you can't get out of it, you can get out of the line of fire, or you can step to the side, or you can just not put energy into it, whatever it is.
I had a client one time who said, just bubble up. Like, you just visualize yourself in a bubble and it doesn't get in. So before we go, boy, time flies when you're having fun. Innocent Potato never owned a computer or an iPad. You're always at your library? She's amazing. Because
I love the idea that this is streaming in a library somewhere.
I know.
It's so subversive.
I was wondering about that because she's always with us. Okay, so, oh, it's 4:00. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, thank you. And to all the people who have commented, thank you for the comments on the hair. I do nothing to it.
Your hair looks awesome.
I don't dye it. I just wash it every couple of days, and it's different every single day. It has its own consciousness. So thank you. Today it decided it wanted to look nice-ish. So
yeah, you look great. You look
next
happy.
time, who knows? But anyway, because people have been saying it, I wanted to say I don't do anything.
I love your colors. It's just natural. Don't love me because I'm. What was it? Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
No, I will say
Remember
people pay a lot of money for the streaks that I have. You know, like, no, I earned every one of these. Like, I tell you the situations that did it.
It means you're happy. You're glowing. So, so stay tuned for the slideshow. Do you want to mention anything?
What I want to mention is two things. If you go to my website, at the top of empowermentunlimited.net, the very first orange banner says reclaiming your energy. That it takes you to a free 1-hour talk on how we exchange energy and a bunch of tools you can use to keep from flipping out now. So if you find yourself gravitating into, I can't, like, go do that. Secondly, if you go to the Professional Aquarian YouTube channel, and it's on a slide coming up, a recent video is called Engines of Change, and I describe piece by piece, step by step, the two big aspects that are happening on Monday and how they interact with all of the with the charts of the U.S., Kamala, Tim, Trump, Vance.
So Professional Aquarian is your YouTube channel, and is the same information on Empowerment Unlimited, the website?
That tends to be, that's where my forecasts are and my services and my products. The YouTube channel is just videos.
Right, like this. Great. And on that similar topic, this Saturday is the last Psychic Summer School class, and it's on using the force to empower your life. Who doesn't want that? The classes have been great. You get a recording of it afterwards when you participate in the class, and it's been an awesome summer for learning how to be more psychic and intuitive. So I think that's it. PsychicAnnetteDion.com is where you go to book a session. It's been very slow lately, so let's help each other out and get a reading from Kathy. And do you have enough readings booked? You have a couple, because it's
we have one more. We have one more Spirit Talk podcast
before we have
to paid for.
Before we have to get to the quota, that Kathy needs 2 readings for us to do another show. So the next one may be on the 27th.
Could be. Okay,
we're going to shoot for that. We'll confirm later. Thank you, everyone. Hang out for the slideshow. The song about January 6th is the soundtrack there. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you later. Thanks, Terry.
Was a dark day, we were frightened, so much chaos, so many white men, caught off guard, no one knew what to say. How did it all get so crazy? Facts were absent, the air was hazy, we stood watching, tears streamed down our faces. While in the White House there was a tyrant glued to the TV, cheering the violence. When they pleaded, he refused to say a word. He just sat there in his fury, lashed out against us. The world was worried. We didn't know if we would make it through. The day they stormed the Capitol, they couldn't take it down, and now we're rising up in numbers much too numerous to count, and we are taking back democracy, and we won't be backing down. We are taking back democracy, and we won't be backing down. standing, we're united. Our elders showed us the most worthy fight is for our freedom, requires vigilance. We're courageous, growing stronger, not complacent. We serve with honor, and our power is the love that leads our way.